Slani everybody, I am Corvus Bruxo Luggenikos and this is Starting Out Solitary. So this week's topic is about sound in ritual and spellcraft, whether we use it or not, and how and what, etc. In my case, I haven't performed spellcraft that much as to know if I would use sound usually, but in ritual I am damn sure that I use sound, because in most Reconstructionist religions, at least Indo-European Reconstructionism, the structure of ritual is simple and usually follows a signal as to summoning the gods or the god that is being given an offering or whatever. So this signal can be a bonfire, music, grantings, many things. But in my case, I have two major ways to mark this moment of ritual. One is to light a candle, because I cannot have a bonfire at home, or I also have a bow drum, and I'm sure I butchered the Irish pronunciation of that word, but yeah, a bow drum is an instrument. It's kind of a drum, traditionally made with sheepskin or skin of some farming animals, but in my case it's a sheep one, so it's synthetic. First of all, I have no idea of how to play bow drum. The bow drum, it is played with like kind of a double stick, and it's very difficult to play. I mean, you can play the simplest of the tunes by using just one side of the drumstick, but if you wanna have like full use of the bow drum, it is very difficult. And I tried, but I am very undisciplined. That's why I guess Lugus, who is a skillful god, wanted to be my tutelary deity, because he wanted to discipline me. One day I will be able to play it, but not now. The thing is that I improvise unrehearsed, simple rhythms in the bow drum, either with one side of the drumstick or with the bare hands, like, you know, touching with the hand. That's my signal. That's where I mark that I'm summoning certain gods, a particular god whatsoever, that I want his presence, that I want to call to his attention, that I'm gonna give him or her or them an offering. Also, to close the ritual, I use the same thing. I mean, if I used sound to summon him or her, I use sound to bid farewell. I also sometimes use music in rituals that are intended to be spellcraft, or not spellcraft, but that is expected that I have a certain mindset. And I don't know if I explained this before, but I suffer from acuphenia. Acuphenia, I think that I just made up that word in English. It's almost a transliteration from a Spanish word, but I think it doesn't exist in English. I meant tinnitus, which is a constant buzzing in my ears. I think I explained this about spirit channeling. Whatever. The thing is that when I need a specific mindset, when I need a trance-like state of mind, it is very difficult for me to get into it just by thinking it, because of this tinnitus. So what I do sometimes is use specific bands or projects of pagan folk that are Celtiberian focused, and they have, for example, there's one that uses for lyrics pieces of Celtiberian and Lusitanian epigraphy. So they repeat these Celtiberian words over and over and over again during the song. Others are like more inventive, but sound even more primitive than the band that I was thinking of, which is Cuebre. For example, Arnica, they make up their own instruments, but they sound very primitive. They sound very, very prehistoric, and they sing mostly in Spanish, sometimes Catalan or Portuguese, but just sometimes. Yeah, about old stones and old gods, and you know, our remains of our archaeological remains, like the old hill forts and stuff. And you know, these bands that are focused particularly on this land, or on the nature of this land, or on historical events and cultures and traditions that were lived on this very soil, that helps me to get into the mood, to get into something similar to a trance. And if I have those songs on repeat and I carefully selected them and I make a playlist, I use them to get into the mindset of the ritual, particularly if there's a song dedicated to a god, for example. Sometimes I don't use Spanish bands or Portuguese bands. Sometimes I use similar bands. For example, for Lugus, there's this Helvetis song called Lugus. It's from an album in which each of the songs is devoted to a Gaulish deity, but since Lugus is the only genuine pan-Celtic deity, it pretty comes in handy. Yeah, and then they have this song about a tribal war deity named Catrix, very similar to Tatis. We don't have Tatis, we don't have Catrix, but that song pretty much reminds me to Kossus, who is another god that is this type of tribal, primitive war god. And yeah, pretty much that's all that I do. Songs when I need to get in the mood, and the bodhran when I wanna mark the summoning of the god or gods in the ritual. And that's all. Tell me what you think in the comments down below. Tell us if you use sound in your ritual or in your spells. Yeah, tell us so, and we'll see each other in the next video. Bye!